What if you were driving alone on a dark, empty highway at midnight and someone appeared in your headlights asking for a lift? What if you drove past too fast to stop and a few minutes later you looked at the passenger seat and she was already there? Ryan had been a truck driver for 12 years. He had driven every kind of road in every kind of weather. Nothing had ever frightened him until the night of the North Ridge route. This is that story. Ryan had been a truck driver for almost 12 years. He worked for one of the largest transport companies in the city, delivering cargo between warehouses across the country. Some days he drove in broad daylight. Other times he spent entire nights on lonely highways. Long hours behind the steering wheel had become a normal part of his life. That evening, he had just returned home after a 10-hour journey. He had barely slept during the previous night, and after reaching home, he collapsed on the sofa. His wife let him rest, while their 2 children quietly played in the next room. At exactly 8:03 p.m., his phone rang. It was the transport manager. "Ryan, I'm really sorry. We've received an emergency shipment. Every other driver is already on the road. You're the only one available." Ryan sighed. "Where is it going?" The manager hesitated before replying. "About 700 kilometers, North Ridge Industrial Depot." Ryan frowned. In 12 years, he had driven that route only twice. "It's urgent," the manager added. "The client is paying extra." After dinner, Ryan kissed his wife and children goodbye, picked up his jacket, and left home around 9 p.m. At the transport yard, he collected the delivery documents, inspected his truck, secured the trailer, and started the engine. By 9:40 p.m., the city lights had disappeared behind him. The road narrowed as it climbed into the mountains. Towering pine trees lined both sides of the highway. There were no houses, no petrol stations, no mobile signal, only darkness. The truck's headlights carved a narrow tunnel through the forest. Ryan rubbed his tired eyes. He had slept barely 2 hours before getting this assignment. To stay awake, he turned on the radio. Nothing but static. He switched it off. Silence returned. Around midnight, while rounding a sharp bend, something appeared in his headlights. A person, standing beside the road, wearing completely white clothes, one arm raised, as if asking for a lift. Ryan's heart skipped a beat. Who would be out here? He had no time to stop. The truck was too heavy and moving too fast. Within seconds, the figure disappeared behind him. His sleepiness vanished instantly. He checked both side mirrors. Nothing. Just darkness. A few minutes later, the CB radio inside the truck crackled to life. He hadn't touched it. A distorted voice whispered, "Thank you." Ryan looked at the radio. Then it went silent. He tried convincing himself it was interference. Nothing more. About 20 kilometers later, he glanced into the passenger side mirror. His blood ran cold. Someone was sitting in the passenger seat, a woman, wearing the same white clothes. Long black hair covered her face. She wasn't there a second ago. Ryan slammed on the brakes. The truck screeched to a stop. His breathing became frantic. He slowly turned toward the passenger seat. It was empty. No one. He laughed nervously. "I'm just tired." He started driving again, but something felt different. The truck suddenly became heavier, much heavier. The engine struggled, even on flat ground. He checked the cargo monitor. The shipment weight had increased by almost 500 kilograms. Impossible. He pulled over and grabbed his flashlight, walking to the back of the trailer. He unlocked the cargo doors. The shipment was untouched. Every crate remained exactly where it had been loaded. He closed the doors. As he locked them, someone knocked from inside the trailer. 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Ryan froze. His flashlight shook violently in his hand. Then, a woman's voice came from inside the sealed trailer. Soft, calm, barely louder than a whisper. Please, don't leave me here. Ryan stumbled backward. Every instinct told him to run. Instead, he jumped into the cab, locked every door, and drove as fast as the truck would go. The knocking continued behind him, slow, patient, keeping the exact rhythm of his heartbeat. When he finally reached the destination warehouse at dawn, several workers were already waiting. One supervisor looked surprised. "You're early." Ryan jumped out of the truck. "Open it," he said. "What?" "The trailer. Open it now." The workers unlocked the cargo doors. Inside, every crate was perfectly arranged, nothing unusual, until one worker noticed something. On the dusty metal floor, there were bare footprints. They began at the very front of the trailer and ended at the cargo doors, as though someone had walked out moments before they opened them. There were no footprints leading in, only out. The warehouse manager laughed. "Maybe one of your workers climbed inside." Ryan didn't answer. He quietly handed over the delivery documents and drove home. He resigned from the company the very next day. Months later, another driver was assigned the same route. At 12:14 a.m., the transport office received a radio transmission. Only one sentence, spoken by a terrified man. "There's a woman asking for a lift, but she's already sitting beside me." The transmission ended with loud knocking. 3 slow knocks. Then, silence. That was the unseen hour. A story about the roads we travel alone, the darkness between one place and the next, and the passengers we never agreed to carry. Some routes are driven only once for a reason. Some knocks are better left unanswered, and some voices in the dark just want to be heard. Subscribe to The Unseen Hour. A brand new story is coming very soon. And remember, not every road that looks empty is empty. Good night.